Interesting. Very interesting. Hello, it's been another month. Let's look at the movies I've watched this month. Have there been any TV shows? I did watch Silo Season 2. That was interesting. I binged it in like 3 days. Thank God. Because my Apple TV Plus subscription was running out, so I had to binge it. Not bad. Not as good as the first season, but better in a binge. A lot of people were complaining that like every episode nothing happened. I'm like, yeah, but if you watch it all in succession, because it basically takes place in like 2 days, it's got a lot of energy to it, and also develops a lot of characters. So then when you get into the third season, you don't need to pander to that development because you've already had it. It ends exactly how I knew it would end, because when you get to the start of it, you're like, okay, I know exactly how this season's going to end. And it did, and I was right. So I was like, cool, that's okay, I'm happy for... Let's see what happens for the next 2 seasons, whenever they come out. Anyway, good golly, was that this month? Okay. On the 1st of April, I did Resident Evil Extinction, 3 stars. Did as part of my Paul W.S. Anderson review, so check that out. I've gone through every single one of his films, including Resident Evil Afterlife, which I gave 3.5 stars, Resident Evil Retribution, which I gave 5 stars, and Resident Evil The Final Chapter, which I gave 1 star, and The Sight, which I gave 3 stars, all of which I watched on the 2nd because I had a head cold. Anyway, those were fun. At least 3 of them were. On the 3rd, because Val Kilmer had passed away, I watched on Amazon Prime Val from 2021, which I gave 4.5 stars. A really interesting look at his life and his career. He's the kind of guy who I've like seen in a lot of films, but haven't really connected a lot of dots as the kind of person that he was in like the public's eye. I didn't really know that people were like, oh, he's annoying on set. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I've just seen him in like Top Gun and Top Secret and a couple other things. That one where he plays Gay Perry, he's great in that one. I don't know what he's like as a person, and now he's dead, so... but really good documentary. Definitely worth looking into. On the 4th, I watched Tombstone, which I gave 4.5 stars. Watched the Blu-ray of that because I'd never seen it, and the 4K is coming out. I'm like, look, I want to watch my Blu-ray, see if I need a 4K, and also... I just haven't seen the film, and again, Val Kilmer, and he's so fucking good in that movie. They're all so fucking good. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think it's a really fun Western, beautifully shot, just really interesting story as well. Like, it takes that story of Tombstone, of the, the battle of the OK Corral and all that stuff, all the stuff you've seen in all the same stories about the same people, but then it's like, oh, that's just the first half of the film. The second half is everything else, which is great. Wonderful idea, good job, 10 out of 10. Well, 9 out of 10. Anyway, on the 5th, I watched New Gods Nezha Reborn from 2021. This was the wrong film. My partner wanted to watch this, I think it's Mandarin, this Chinese animated film. I think it's called Nezha. At least the first one was, and that came out in like 2019, and we couldn't find that, and this one was on Netflix, and it turns out this was the wrong one. It was okay. We had to put on the English version because it was just, there was so much quick dialogue happening that I couldn't look at this, like we couldn't look at she doesn't speak fucking Mandarin. It was too difficult to look at the animation that was very quick and the quick speaking dialogue at the same time through subtitles, so yeah. I wasn't huge on the film. We were like, it's fine. I gave it 3 stars. I'm like, it's fine for what it is. But I'm like, we ended up looking up for the other one, and the other one looked so much fucking better. But the only way we could get it was to get a pirated version through Reddit. I'm like, guess I'm not going to watch that film anytime soon because I don't want to... I'm good, We'll wait. I've heard the second one has blown the box office out of its fucking asshole. But at the same time, we'll get to it when we get to it. But I rectified this situation because it was kind of a boring film to watch by watching When Harry Met Sally, which I gave 5 stars. I adore this film. I've seen it at least 3 different times on Letterboxd. I've never shown it to Helene before, so I got to finally show it to Helene, and I showed her the wonderful fucking 4K restoration from fucking Shout Factory, and it looks superb. And it was funny, and it was cute, and it was tragic, and it was wonderful. It was a masterpiece of a film, and I love that she loved it, so that's all I can really ask for. On the 6th, because Still kind of in that Val Kilmer area. I showed Helene Top Secret, which she also had never seen. She had never seen a Zucker Abrams Zucker film before, so she didn't know what well, fuck it, she's never even seen like any of the scary movie films or anything, so she doesn't understand parody films, which is not too surprising given that she has such a very small range of films that she's accumulated over her lifetime. So it was very strange for her. A lot of the time I had to rewind some of the jokes so she can understand where the joke was coming from or what it was trying to say, mostly because it's the kind of film where unless you kind of know where the films are going to, like the jokes are going to be, or you understand the style enough that anything could be a joke, you get it immediately, but sometimes you don't. So I was happy to do that, and I was like, oh, did you understand that joke? And she's like, oh, I didn't, so I rewound it, and we watched it, and she actually got the joke, and she enjoyed it that time. So I'm like, that's good. I'd prefer that she actually is able to understand the jokes when we're watching it, rather than having to watch the film a whole second time or whatever. Also, this was the Viavision Blu-ray, which I hadn't watched, and it was like, a surprisingly good print. I know that there's a UHD discount for that, plus the Naked Gun films. Actually, I think it's just the first... Is it all 3 Naked Guns, or is it just the first one? I think it's just the first one, plus Airplane. But I've got the 4K Steelbook for Airplane, the standard Blu-ray, but 4K scan, so... Plus I have the old Blu-rays for the Naked Gun films, so I'm like, when they do a trilogy set for that, I'll buy it, but I don't think I want to get the Zaz set, which comes with no special features, if you get the Australian version, because it's just 4K discs, with no special features. Not even the commentaries. So I don't have that. But yeah, I should have shown her Airplane. Didn't think that she hadn't watched Airplane, because she was over one time when I watched it, but I realized, oh, she was in my room doing homework, and I was in here laughing my fucking ass off, because I love that movie. So... But I think Top Secret was great anyway, because it's just such a fucking weird film. It's beautiful. I gave it 4 stars. It's a hell of a joy to watch. Also doing more Val Kilmer, on the 8th, I watched Real Genius, which I got the Blu-ray from Viavision in, and it was really fun. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was not what I expected, because it starts off as one of my least favourite genres, the high school film, but then it's like, oh, it's actually a really smart kid going to a really smart kid college, and they're all real geniuses, whatever, and it turns out they're all building like a missile, not a missile, a laser that's meant to kill people from space, and they don't know that. But you've also got like the drama between the characters. You get some romantic relationships in between them as well. The comedy's not immensely laugh out loud, but it's nicely humorous throughout. It's good character stuff. Unlike how it's big cliche of doing the whole high school thing of like, oh, this younger kid's going to get bullied by the older kids, because that's your cliche for high school, but the bully is still just one of the smart guys, so it's not because he's a dumb jock, they're all just nerds, but it's like he's gone from the same situation at a public school to now a private school with this shit, or a college, whatever. American education doesn't fucking make sense in my brain, and suddenly it's like he's just gone through the exact same shit twice, and he's like, why? I don't want to fucking deal with this shit. But it's fun. The final act is really fun. It has a great payoff in the end. It's a very amusing film and definitely worth getting. I was really happy with the print from Viavision. It comes with a director commentary and a behind the scenes featurette as well. So I was like content with that. I didn't want to get the 4K UHD, but if you're in America, get the 4K. Why the fuck not? It's a good, nicely produced looking 80s film. It's gonna look pretty. So anyway. On the 9th, I watched Noroi the Curse, part of Arrow Video's Blu-ray set, which I don't have the Blu-ray set. My friends Phil and Katie had the copy. They have the J-horror set. And they were happy with most of the films that were on it that they've seen, but they lent me Noroi. Is it Noroi or Joroi? Noroi. They lent me that. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm like, it's definitely a film I could learn to love more over as time goes on, but it's one of those... I was expecting ghost-like Japanese horror film, because it's in that era of, late 90s, early 2000s J-horror boom, but this is 2005, so it's not wanting to be like Ju-on the Grudge or whatever. It's doing its own thing, and it's a mock documentary of a guy who investigates paranormal activity, but the activity happened to be basically a demon. It's really interesting. Like, it's got a great premise. It's really interestingly set up. The horror is very interesting. It's a lot more, it's not existential. What's the horror? Cosmic horror. Which is an interesting twist to it that I wasn't expecting, but also I don't get scared by cosmic horror. It's interesting enough as its own, but I've never loved it as much as I love the idea of some cosmic horror. But still, I think because my expectations were too high. I was expecting to be, oh my god, this is going to be an immensely scary film. No one's home. It's dark. It's going to be, I'm not going to sleep tonight. And it's like, no, it was fine. It was just a really interesting, like, fake documentary that, like, bears more weight when you realize that one of the main characters is an actor in the film, because she's an actor in real life. Like, you actually, like, she's playing herself. And that's meant to give more realism to it because a lot of the events happen to her. But as someone who's not Japanese, and was, what, 6 years old, 7 in 2005, I don't have that connection. So, yeah, but that was one of those benefits of one of the video essays. But Umbrella has announced they're doing a Blu-ray release of it, so that could be really interesting, even though I will be honest, the video essay that was on the release for the Arrow video release was really good, so I was pretty happy with that information. So I'm like, I might still get the Umbrella version, because it's a good film. I'd like to get it on its own. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that one. On the 12th, yeah, jumping 3 days because I was binging fucking Silo, I watched To Die For at the Astor, part of the Cinemaniacs. This is our third film for the year. I'm on the board, of course, for the Cinemaniacs. And yeah, it was really fun. I gave it 4 stars. It was a really, really interesting, again, kind of like Noroi, where it's this, like, fake documentary based on semi-true, people. And Nicole Kidman is so fucking great in it. She is just genuinely fucking gorgeous, and she's so fucking good in the film. She fucking chews that scenery. She's so funny and so interesting. There's a really great cameo at the end, which I'm not going to spoil who it is. It's not even a cameo. It's just, it would be considered a cameo because it's just such a small role. But it is such a good role, and if you know who I'm talking about, you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy. And I'm like, yeah, that guy shows up, and he's so good. And he's only got like one scene that's like the creepiest thing he's ever done on film, which is so fucking good. A great filmmaker in a film cameo. Wonderful. The film looks beautiful. It was really fun to watch. Great with the crowd. Definitely want to get that Criterion 4K, because it would be beautiful in 4K. On the 13th, I watched Vampiros Lesbos from 1971. This was part of the Umbrella Blu-ray I got recently. I got it instead of the Severin version because they had the same special features and transfer and audio and all that bullshit. And I'm happy I didn't spend as much money on it. I spent like maybe $30 instead of like $70. Because I wasn't that big on the film. I'm like, I gave it 3 stars. It's got a great score, because that's like the real good powerhouse element of it is the score, plus the lead 2 female performances, because it basically translates to lesbian vampires. And the main lesbian vampire, portrayed by Soledad Miranda, she's fucking breathtaking. It sucks that she died like the year prior to this movie coming out. There was a great video essay actually on it by a historian talking about Soledad Miranda, because she's actually researched and documented her whole life, because there was only, 20 odd years of it, which was a good breakdown of her whole career. The interview of the director, on the other hand, needs subtitles because I can't understand a fucking word he says, so I just stopped watching that like 2 minutes in. But the film itself, again, Soledad was fantastic, as well as I don't even know how to pronounce this, Ira Stromberg. She's basically the main character of the film, who is the human who gets entranced by this vampiric character. And she's also really interesting. So, like, there's some interesting characters, but it wasn't that. It was very slow and moody. I even said it's a slow burn, vibe-heavy lesbian vampire film with a banging score and eccentric 70s production design, costuming, and blood. Classic punchy red blood. It's okay, mostly a vibe if anything, but not strong in the horror realm, and although the erotica is interesting, it's never too tantalizing. It's like PG versions of lesbian sex, and it doesn't even do anything. They don't even touch each other. She bites her neck while they're both naked. And if that's lesbian sex, I've got some bad news for you. So yeah, nevertheless, some really fun performances from the leads, very beautifully shot. So it just wasn't that great in the narrative sense, and in the horror sense, and in the sexy sense. I guess it's sexy enough in its own, but I'm like, I've seen more graphic, I guess, but I don't know what they expect. It's German. Maybe I was expecting something a bit more because it's European, but I don't know. I've watched a lot of Italian erotica film. So I was expecting a bit more punch to it, but I guess this ain't no Tinto Brass, is it? Nevertheless, on the 14th, I did a triple feature. Good golly. Paranormal Activity, which I gave 3 stars. Paranormal Activity 2, which I gave 3 stars, and the like. And I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I gave 3.5 stars. Start with Paranormal Activity. I'm wanting to binge the series before my parents get home from their trip. Fuck knows if that'll happen, because these films are not really that scary to me, especially watching them now as an adult versus when I was a kid and first watched them, because I watched the first 3 as a child. I actually haven't even watched any of the sequels yet, but the box that I have comes with all the films and a documentary. So I would really like to watch them all before my parents get home, and I'm watching like ER while I'm trying to watch girls get possessed and shit. I don't fucking know. I'll give Paranormal Activity the benefit of the doubt. The first one I think is interesting because the characters are interesting. It's just the two of Mika and Katie, and their relationship is really interesting to me. A lot of people hate Mika. It's like, oh, he's such an asshole. I'm like, I mean, he's filming his girlfriend who's fucking haunted by a demon. I'm like, it's not uber realistic, but it's very much a white person America. This is what white people do. What's that? They don't bother to, like, get the house cleansed or anything. Nope, they're just gonna get it on camera, put it up on YouTube, baby, get those sweet views. White people are stupid, I understand. But I think the interesting part of the film is their dynamic and how their relationship breaks down over the course of the film, and as the demon stuff ramps up. Because you're watching it for every night the demon fucks around and finds out. And it's like, yeah, sure, it's got some iconic shots to it. The one iconic shot, because there's hardly any fucking camera angles. But it wasn't overtly scary to me this time around. It has a great rumbling to it, like the surround sound was nice. It has a good bass, which I really enjoyed. So it's got some elements, but I wasn't overtly convinced by the films. I'm like, it's fine. A lot of people praise it as more of a masterpiece, like in contrast to Blair Witch, because it actually does something and there is an actual entity. But I'm like, I don't know. I kind of prefer Blair Witch's approach. I like the way that film is shot and portrayed. I like how there may or may not be an evil the whole time, and that's what makes it scarier, and how the characters break down in that, whereas in Paranormal Activity, it's just like, Mika, just put the fucking camera down and get the fuck out of there. Like, it's not hard. You could leave. The one good thing this demon ever did for these people is kill them before the 2008 fucking economy crashed, because they would have been fucking done for. He was, like, working in stocks from home. He was fucked, no matter what. So the demon did him justice. Anyway, so the second film, on the other hand, I enjoyed more, hence why I gave it a like instead of more of a higher rating, because it's still the same film in essence. It's just got more characters to it. I watched the extended cut. I actually watched the alternate cut of the first film, which has a different ending where Katie dies at the end. She fucking offs herself at the very end instead of throwing Mika at the camera, which I'm annoyed by, because the Blu-ray doesn't have the original theatrical ending, which is like 6 minutes longer and is really boring. It's on YouTube. But it comes with, as a bonus feature, the alternate ending, which is part of the alternate cut. So it's like, well, what the fuck's the point? You're only getting one scene of difference. It says it's uncut, but it's just because, well, unrated, because it's, she kills herself in front of a camera. Like, that's why it has that extra emphasis on violence, because she fucking kills herself in front of a camera. But the thing is, with, the theatrical cut is like, you can watch the theatrical cut where she lives and is possessed, because that walks right into the second film, because if you watch the first film as the unrated cut, she dies and that's the end of the story. So, yeah. And also it's not edited with credits or anything, so it just ends right after that. So, noteworthy. But the second film, I watched the extended cut, which I'd never seen before. I cannot tell you what the differences are, but I was more interested by it because the scares were a lot more creative. There's a lot more angles, a lot more shots. The fact that it starts with the house being burgled, which it wasn't actually burgles, the demon fucking around, and they put in all these cameras, which they never check. One character is like, maybe we should check these cameras. Oh my god, look at all this clearly obvious possessed house bullshit going on. Look, stepmom's being dragged down the stairs by a demon that's invisible. Fuck, maybe we should do something about that. So the only relatable character is her, and guess what? She survives, which is great. She also uses her own camcorder at one stage, which I think is probably the extended part of the film, because I don't remember that the first time around. But again, it has more obvious scares, like I know a lot more of them because they were kind of more iconic, more obvious, when it's going to happen, like the pan falling in the kitchen, everything blown up in the kitchen, the thing in the water coming out of the water. There's a lot of different things like that. The girl getting kicked out, the woman getting dragged downstairs, the dog getting attacked. There's a lot of different elements to it that I remembered. But yeah, it's one of those things as well, is that every time the demon shows up, there's a bassy sound. So I'm like, oh, okay. It's not like dead silence and then jump scare. It's just, oh, there's a bassy sound, the demon's here, and then I'll have dead silence because I'm like, okay, there's going to be a jump scare, and then there's a jump scare. So I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. Anyway, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 3.5 stars. It is a really overly convoluted, for no reason, stupid-ass fucking murder mystery whodunit, rather than a slasher film. It has slasher elements, clearly. It's written by the guy who wrote Scream, but it's very much a whodunit murder mystery, which is really funny to me. I like how they actually, like, half the cast go one direction to find out who fucking did it, and the other cast are like, let's get murdered. Don't you just love it? Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is the best character in this fucking franchise. The fact that she, spoilers, gets killed off in the first one sucks, but her death scene is iconic. Her character is great. She's the only one with fucking depth because she goes from, like, this prom queen, like, not prom queen, like, beauty pageant thing. She wins the beauty pageant. She's the prettiest girl in town, whatever the fuck. But then when it cuts to a year later, she just works in a fucking store. She went to New York for like 2 weeks and then was like, oh, no, they don't want her. She goes back home. Her life sucks. Her sister judges her constantly. There's all this stuff that's like, man, that's like a great story all of its own. But you have to just keep watching Jennifer Love Hewitt, which in all regards, she's gorgeous. Fuck it. All these 4 people, these main 4 body cast, fucking so attractive. I'm bewildered by how beautiful these people are. I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr., that one other guy who takes his shirt off because he gets in the shower naked. You don't see anything, but he's fucking hot. So I'm like, holy shit, what's happening here? And Jennifer Love Hewitt, fucking hell, she's so fucking hot. And like they do that in the second film as well. They have a whole bit where she basically strips so she can get into a sunbathing machine. And it's like, yeah, she has tits. I get it. I don't blame you, cameraman. We're lingering on elements of shots because it's exploitative cinema. It's horror, baby. But yeah, so it's definitely interesting. The least interesting characters survive, but I mean, sure, whatever. Not bad. Fun film on its own right. Then I watched Snapshot on the 16th, which is a 1979 exploitation film. I watched that from the Powerhouse 4K restoration. Glad I didn't get the UHD disc because I wasn't overly amused by the story. I gave it 3 stars. It's fine. It's a stalker film for one thing, but it doesn't give you enough inclination that there's more than one stalker because the whole time you think it's just the one guy, and then it's like, actually, there are a couple of them for different reasons, and it just doesn't really set it up properly until like the final act where it's like, oh, here's just a bunch of shit, and I'm like, okay. The final like 5 minutes is insane. I'll give it that, and it looks really nice. It's got a very fun cast, and it's got some great Melbourne locations that are so dated now because like, oh my god, so much of that shit has changed since the late 70s. But yeah. It's got a fun Aussie cast. It's interesting enough to watch, so I can't dissuade it too much. It was the theatrical cut, not the extended cut. 12 minutes of difference. All the extended cut stuff is like in standard definition. But I looked up the differences narratively after the fact, and it just extends, like, it gives you like 3 extra characters and a sex scene between characters you don't know. And it just doesn't seem like it like develops things or makes it more obvious that certain things are happening. It just seems like it's just extra characters for extra characters' sake. So maybe one day I'll watch the director's cut and be like, actually, this is pretty good, and maybe I'll feel the tensey vibe that it's trying to go for of it being a stalker film, but I just couldn't really connect to that element to it. So yeah. Then on the same night I Still Know What You Did Last Summer from 1998, which I gave 2 stars. It is stupid as shit. Like, it's the kind of so bad it's good kind of movie where it's dumb as fuck, and it just runs with it. I mean, the premise just being that basically the main characters who survived the previous film plus an extra couple get invited to the Bahamas for, July 4th weekend, and the same killer from the first film is back and is trying to kill them. And it's great because you're like thinking, oh shit, maybe it's that person. I guessed who I thought the killer was, and it turns out they were related to the killer, but not actually the killer. And the reveal of it is genuinely amazing. Like, it's got a play on words, and if you've seen the film, you know what the play on words is, and it is actually fucking great. It's so stupid. again, it's any excuse to get these people half naked and in baths and swimming and just Bahamas. It's hot, but there's also a fucking tropical cyclone. You got Jack Black in it, who gets murdered, which is wonderful because fuck Jack Black. But then it also has Jeffrey Combs, who also gets murdered. So I'm like, you almost won me over by giving me Jeffrey Combs and a great bunch of like character actors. One of those kind of take a shot every time a character actor shows up. You might get drunk enough to really enjoy this film. That kind of film. It's basically like a mid-2000s Adam Sandler film, but it's a slasher. Still kind of whodunit, but more of a slasher. A lot more blood and gore in this one. But it was very predictable and somewhat lackluster in certain elements, but there was some fun twists to it, I guess. Not the same writer as the first one. Very much so a cash grab as well. But yeah, even just the whole premise of how they get to the Bahamas, of winning a certain show based on a certain answer, for those educated would know, hey, wait a second, and I'm like, I didn't know that wasn't the answer, because I'm not that geographically educated, so I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't bother me that much, but I'm also like, it seems a bit, calling an unlisted number to win a radio show, so, questionable. So much budget to go for one person to get all these people into one location. Like, imagine how much that would have cost. Probably not as much because it's the off-season, but still. On the 17th, I watched I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, which I gave half a star. Just bad. Really, really bad. Genuinely awful. It's just the first one as a remake, basically, even though it's trying to say that the first one and the second one happened, and it's the same killer. Like, they're not even trying to set up it's a different killer who I thought it would be. Oh, it's going to be that guy because he's related to the person who died at the start by accident. And it turns out, nope. They've just brought back the killer from the first two films as a zombie, even though he was in the Bahamas when he died. So he's a zombie now. I'm spoiling this movie because it's stupid. It's really god-awful. It looks bad. It's so poorly shot. It's dark as fuck. It's the kind of film where you'll have people inside and the outside windows in the distance will be the light, but the light isn't coming in. It's just creating a contrast. So there was a shot that I even Snapchatted to friends where the woman is in, it's got a gondola thing, whatever, like a skylift, and she goes into that room. I didn't know where she was because I can't see shit around her except for like the openness at the end, and then it cuts to a different angle and I could see everything. I'm like, oh, there's a ladder there. Oh my god, there's all this stuff in this room and I couldn't see it. The second film kind of has that for one scene where they go into a gym and you can't really make out a lot of it, but then it cuts to a different angle and you can see things better because again, they're filming against the light, actually towards the light, but still, bad idea. Contrast, bad. But this movie has awful contrast. The color grading is atrocious. It's a mid-2000s film, so you know it's a cheap DVD fucking sequel. The blood and gore is surprisingly impressive. Like, it has more blood and gore than the previous two films combined. But that doesn't really make up for shitty characters and not very interesting story, premise, anything. It's just bad. It's fucking awful. A film like this exists for me to realize that I can literally turn it off and put on something good, but that's just not in my DNA. I have to suffer for no reason. So yeah, at least it's only 90 minutes, but it's not a good 90 minutes. I could have watched literally anything else. And then on the 18th, Good Friday, for those who celebrate, I don't really give a shit, I watched Godspell, a musical based on the Gospel according to St. Matthew. That's the title on Letterboxd. I rewatched the Blu-ray mostly because, it's the classic religious film, but it's a really fun musical. I really like the film. I gave it 3.5 stars. This is the 4th time I've seen it now. The 3rd time by itself. The 2nd time I watched it was with Lee's commentary, because Lee loved this movie, and given that he was really adamant that people watch it, for the Easter period, because it's the most relevant time to watch it. But yeah, since he passed, it was just like, I wanted to have something to celebrate that, so I wanted to watch that. I did also do a Blu-ray review talking about the special features and everything, so go check that out as well. What else did I watch this month? On the 19th, I watched Jesus Christ Superstar, because Easter weekend, and I'd never seen it before, and it's just a weird film. I liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I prefer Godspell personally. I just think Godspell's a lot more fun, and there's just enough times where they just stop singing. Like, I love the songs in Godspell, But there are times where they just stop singing to talk and stuff and just prance around and whatever because hippies in an van in New York. It's wonderful. Jesus Christ Superstar, despite the fact that I literally watched 40 musicals in February, none of them are like this movie because every single one of those movies have dialogue. This movie doesn't. It's just song after song after song after song. They're talking in the songs. That's how they do the songs. If you're not aware, it's a rock opera. It's very weird. I'm not fond of that style, personally. I mean, ironically, it's like the best way to do a musical, because it's like, fuck it, we can make a 90-minute film instead of a 3-hour film, because instead of people stopping to talk to each other, you have them singing their feelings and thoughts at each other the whole time. So it, like, cuts it out. Instead of just cutting out the songs altogether, you just cut out the dialogue altogether. It's a really interesting choice. Visually, it's quite nice. I feel like I need a film that talks about Jesus properly, because oh my god, I haven't studied like this stuff since I was in Catholic school as a child, and that wasn't for very long, so I don't remember a lot of the whole Jesus fable and everything. The whole story is, it's not even a fucking fable, it's mythology, and like I don't remember a lot of that stuff, so I'm like, why are all these fucking films about the end of his life? Like, give me reason to give a shit. Like, I get it. If you're a Christian, you're fucking sucking his dick, so it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, I need reason to suck his dick, I guess. But yeah, he has bad facial hair. Good voice. Fucking insane voice. But anyway, on the same day, I watched another biblical epic, I Am Legend. I watched the alternate cut, which I gave 4 stars. Genuinely love it. Really interesting film. Because I love the original book. I think I've read the original book. I've definitely seen the original film as well, the Vincent Price one. I think I've watched the Omega Man. I grew up with that one, but I don't know if I've ever fully, properly watched it. And I Am Legend I did grow up with as well, so it being not zombies but vampires is obvious, because I fucking know the narrative. And the alternate ending is a lot fucking better than the original. Fuck the original ending, it sucks. I think it's got a very visual aesthetic that's really interesting. It captures the apocalypse well. You give enough of a shit about this character by also involving the flashbacks. It's just really interesting, again, biblical stuff, because the girl who shows up later in the film is literally like, God told me to go to this place because there will be sanctuary there, and also I turned on the radio and heard your voice and you said, come to the city, I'll be there at midday, and you weren't. It's really interesting. I'd really like to see, because apparently they're doing a sequel, allegedly, with I think Michael B. Jordan. But I'm like, I'd really like to see, because apparently I think they're meant to be going with the alternate ending route. I'm really hoping that they go with that God route, because that would be really, really interesting if it becomes like that. Like the plague was more than just science and whatever. It's a really bizarre film, because even in my review I literally said, see, it's a metaphor for how Christians are loonies and scientists are murderers. Wait a second. So it's kind of got a bit of both. Anyway, then on the 20th, I watched The Borderlands. Not the bad one, but the good one. Went to Phil and Katie's place to watch it. I mostly just went over there to see Phil for his birthday, because it was the long weekend, and again, still Easter weekend, it was Easter Sunday. And I was like, you know, his birthday was a Saturday, so I gave him a bunch of gifts. And we were like, hey, let's watch a movie. So we watched one of the Blu-rays that he got for his birthday, one that I was wanting to watch as well. I was going to borrow it from them because I knew what his gifts were ahead of time. I have to know what Katie's getting him, so I'm not buying him the same things. Anyway, so we watched it. They'd seen it before. They wanted to rewatch it because they're wanting to make a found footage horror film. So I'm like, cool, I'll watch it with them because I want to watch it. And if it's scary, at least I'm with friends, so I don't have to shit myself by myself. And ironically, I didn't think it was overtly terrifying, but at the same time, I really liked its style. The characters were really interesting. It reminded me a lot of one of my favorite shows, Evil, which is just great. You know, you got the tech guy, you got the person who's skeptical, and you got the overly religious person, and they've got the conflicting like mental attitudes towards this idea of, is this church possessed by some kind of demon? And then that whole ending is so fucking insane. I'm not going to spoil it, but it genuinely got to the point where I wanted to close my eyes, because I'm like, I don't want to see this stuff. I've seen this stuff before, and it gave me a panic attack last time I saw it. And then I just kept my eyes open and watched them. I was like, that's fucking insane. It's a great film. I gave it 4 stars. Fantastic ending. On the 21st, I watched a lot of films. I watched Cannibal Holocaust. Oh, it took me a long time to get over the fact that I'd watched that movie. I hadn't seen it. I bought it 2 years ago, finally watched it. Watched the 4K UHD. I think it's almost fully uncut. I think it's just missing one animal torture sequence that was in the American cut, because it is the 88 Films 4K UHD. It looks so fucking good. And again, found footage, and I'm thinking, this doesn't really feel like found footage, because it starts off that way, and then it becomes like an actual film of them going to the place or whatever, and you're like, okay, this doesn't feel like found footage. And in the second half of the movie, when they've found the found footage, you know, in the title, then they just are screening it and they're editing the footage, and like even one guy mentions, oh, I've added music for dramatic effect during a really fucked up sequence. Like the whole second half of the movie is insanely brutal. It gets to a point literally within the last 15 minutes that I was debating, do I want to turn this off? Do I want to throw up? Maybe I don't do either and I just kind of try to watch this. It is so excruciating and rough. Because the thing is, it's as much as it's also a film that literally also features animal fucking murder, like actual animal murder, which is already fucked up on its own, because it's real, it means that the violence that happens at the end of the film seems ever so more real. And it literally blurs the line between this is a real, actual, you know, brutal murder that's for survival, and this is also a brutal murder that's for survival, but it's of people. One's of animals, one's of people. One's real, one's fake, but it looks so fucking real that it's dreadful to watch. I'm like, I don't want to watch that. Why would I want to watch someone get castrated on a fucking movie in 4K? It's fucked. That being said, I gave the film 3.5 stars. Very interesting. I do like its angle of how it's a commentary on like how people will go to places that are like foreign or whatever that aren't American and document it, but instead of being like modern documentarians where they're just documenting footage and not touching what's happening, you know, oh, an animal's gonna die, we're gonna leave it alone, we're not here to, you know, change the course of nature, we're here to show what happens in nature. In this film, it's like, yeah, they're gonna force the changes in nature, and it's really fucked up. And that's not even the worst bit. Like, it's genuinely fucked up what these camera crew do, and the fact that, like, oh, it's, like, it hinted earlier on in the film, like, oh, these guys might actually have, like, caused a civil war, just for kicks, just for footage, you know, and then you watching their footage for Cannibal Holocaust and you realize, oh, yeah, they're literally saying, we can do this shit, it'll make us famous, you know, and it's like, oh, that's awful. These guys suck. It's great what happens to them, but it's brutal to watch, so depends on if you really like that kind of footage. Can't say it's great, but I do think it's interesting. And also if you're really triggered by, like, animals getting murdered, that's pretty fucked up. Like, naturally fucked up, but it's like, again, works really interestingly into the motif of the film. Good for its commentary. Bad that it was done. Can't condone fucking animal violence, that much is obvious. But, you know, it's exploitation cinema, baby. Then I watched Paranormal Activity 3, which I gave 3 stars and a like. I didn't give Cannibal Holocaust a like, because I'm like, I don't know if I'll watch it again, but I'm happy to have it, you know? I don't know, it's fucked. Really crazy film to just have on physical. First film I bought from Dead on DVD, who would have thought? Paranormal Activity 3, on the other hand, quite enjoyed. It's one of those films that finally takes the method set up in the first 2 films, cuts it back in time, adds kids, and they're not annoying kids, which is great, has so much more stuff of them playing with the demon, which is wonderful. They've got the panning camera. My only real irk is the fact that it's still digital footage when it's like, this is like a camcorder. This should be in 4:3 and on tape. Like, they're like, oh, it's filmed on tape. Then why ain't this shit in 4:3? Why am I getting a fucking widescreen presentation of a fucking event from the goddamn 80s? This should be in 4:3. This guy should not be able to afford this kind of shit for, like, a wedding photographer. For the love of God, like, and he has so many goddamn monitors, it's insane. And they're not even monitors, they're just small fucking CCTV, not like I was going to say CCTVs, but the other thing, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, I do like it. I think the ending's great. It's just, it takes its concept and makes it much more interesting. And for once, none of the like adult characters are annoying. Like, the mother is still ridiculous until the demon's like, hey, I'm fucking here. And she's like, oh, cool, yeah, let's get the hell out of here. But that's just to progress the plot. instead of just fucking with people. Which is great, because all the non-related characters, when they interact with the demon, they're like, yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm not coming back. I love it. Then I watched Lost Highway, the 4K UHD from Criterion. Fucking splendid film. Gave it 4 stars. Gonna do a whole video talking about David Lynch. To some capacity, it's gonna be really weird to make that video. Maybe I've already filmed it. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink with this t-shirt, long sleeve shirt I'm wearing that has his name on it. Oh. Anyway, it's got David Lynch's name on it. How crazy is that? Not that crazy. Anyway, I gave it 4 stars. Pretty good. Very strange. Then I watched Pretty as a Picture, The Art of David Lynch, which was featured on the Blu-ray for the Criterion set, which I gave 3.5 stars. It's a 1997 documentary which basically looks at David Lynch's career spanning the past 20 years. Basically 20 to 25, because it also talks about some of his paintings and stuff. And then has, like, deleted scenes and behind-the-scenes features and whatever from Lost Highway while they were filming it. So, yeah, very interesting. Nice stuff. Good watch if you're a David Lynch fan. On the 22nd, I watched The Long Kiss Goodnight, which is the new Arrow Video 4K. Gave it 4.5 stars. I adore this film. It is so fucking good. The 4K looks insanely good. I actually changed it from a Dolby Atmos to the 5.1 mix because the Dolby Atmos was so head-heavy, which I don't have top speakers, so I don't have a 7.1 setup. I was just like, it sounded too quiet. So I changed it to 5.1, and because I'd already boosted the volume, it became really loud. My brother actually complained. He's like, dude, turn it the fuck down. I'm like, I'm sorry, but also, you had, like, I got the TV there and surround sound speakers up there, and, like, you had bullets ricocheting between. It was very loud in every angle, but very good. Very good. Good 5.1 mix. It has a lot more kick to it. On the 23rd, I watched This Straight Story. Gave it 4.5 stars. Watched the Imprint 4K restoration. Looked great. Beautiful film. It was great to watch it again. I haven't seen it since I saw it in cinema back in like 2018. So yeah, great. 4.5 stars. Definitely worth watching again as a David Lynch fan. And just as a fan of just good fucking films. Then I watched Mulholland Drive, which I gave 5 stars. I watched the Criterion 4K. It looked so fucking good. I've had this 4K for like 2 or 3 years now, and I just hadn't watched it at all. This is my 3rd time watching it. I'd seen the old Studio Canal Blu-ray, which was already a 4K remaster. Then I watched it in uni, and I hadn't seen it since. And that was like 2018. So this time around, I still fucking love it. I think it's a masterpiece. It's not my favorite of Lynch's films, which is ironic because it's still a fucking masterpiece, but so many of these films I think are masterpieces. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it this time around. It just really, the first hour and a half is really fun, but then like the TV pilot kind of version of it is really fun, but then that extra like hour and a bit is fucking insane, and I really, really loved it. On the 25th, I had the house to myself on the Wednesday. This is the 23rd is a Wednesday. The 24th is a Thursday. The 25th was a Friday. I've had the house to myself for the past 3 days. My brother is house sitting with his girlfriend. So I didn't know that on Wednesday. So I could have watched another film Wednesday, but I was busy doing other things. Thursday, I was home for an hour because I came home from work, had to get ready to go to another job because I had a VFL game to film because it was Anzac Day on the Friday, so I had Friday off. But when I got home, it was 11 o'clock, and I'm like, well, I'm not very tired despite waking up at 5:30 to my brother's alarm because I didn't know he wasn't going to be home and he hadn't turned off his fucking alarm. I watched Life Force. The whole international cut, 2 hours. I love this film. I've seen it before. I got the old Arrow Blu-ray, and this is the new 4K UHD. Again, went for the 5.1 mix instead of the 7.1 because I just didn't want to have to deal with that kind of problem. Like, fuck it. I'm just going to watch it in 5.1 because at least I can hear every fucking thing. Nevertheless, absolutely loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's just so fucking mental. Even like the slow kind of bit in the middle where it's just the 2 guys chasing down the girl, but she's now in a guy's body and it's Patrick Stewart for some fucking reason. Seems like the weakest part of the movie until the twist is revealed that it was a decoy the whole time, and then you go back to the city and it's a fucking apocalypse. It was amazing. I fucking love this film so much. Like Toby Hooper in general, I really love his films, and this one is one of my favorites. Like, it's just like a sliver below Texas Chainsaw for me, but it's up there with like Salem's Lot. So yeah, and then the Friday. Well, this is on the 25th because I ended up going to bed. Wise, should do that more often. Then I watched 3 movies in a row. I watched Inland Empire, the Criterion 4K restoration, which is a fucking weird 4K restoration. It's good. It looks fantastic. It's just weird because it's a 480p film upscaled to 4K. It's fucking mental. But I compared it to my old Blu-ray, and I'm like, I gotta be honest, I prefer the Criterion, and it's director approved. The audio is fantastic. The 5.1 mix is so fucking good, and it has a fuck ton of special features. So I'm happy to have both. I'm keeping both. They both have their own unique properties. Definitely worth watching. It is so fucking mental. If you're not a David Lynch person, like you don't like surreal abstract cinema, avoid it at all fucking costs. If you've seen Eraserhead and you didn't like it, you won't like Inland Empire. Simple as that. There's nothing straightforward to it. There's nothing to latch onto. It's just a cacophony of just like a stream of consciousness into a movie for 3 hours straight. It's fucked. But it has some of my favorite David Lynch scenes, including the locomotion scene and the scariest scene, I think, of a David Lynch film. So, you know, take that for what you will. Then I was like, look, I'd been watching a couple of interviews. I was like, I could just spend the rest of my day watching a bunch of documentaries and stuff, all this stuff that about David Lynch, whatever, because it was my last free day to myself, no one home. And I decided to not do that, so I did on the 25th, continuing the 25th, I watched The Car from 1977. I think I'd seen a clip from this the other day. Turns out I was wrong. And this was a film that I'm pretty sure Lee had gotten me to get at the Cinemaniacs. I had it logged on my phone as the 23rd, I think, of November 2023. So it might have been the second last Cinemaniacs of that year. And, you know, I was just there, and they just had it, and Lee was like, you gotta get this, it's great. And I was like, cool. I don't remember any interaction about it, but I'm like, yeah, I can imagine Lee selling me on that film, but I also have no idea, but I'm pretty sure I got it from the Cinemaniacs. I might have just bought it and then just picked it up when I got there. I don't fucking know. It just looked fun. The Car. And it's great. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's almost like an eco-horror film because it's like Jaws, but it's a car. That's literally the premise. It's Jaws, but it's a fucking car. And it's also the car design that they use in the Futurama episode where Bender becomes a werecar, which is also just fantastic to watch. It's a different car. Like, Bender turns into that looking car. The other car that actually is the personification of, like, evil is more of a Christine-like car. Well, not even. It's just a red car. It's a bit more obvious on the symbolism. But this one's a bit more ambiguous, but it also... The first hour is pretty good, but then like when the third act starts, because there's already some great kills of just some random prey that it just kills some, a cop in the middle of the road, some cyclists, you know, regular stuff. But then there's one stage where it literally drives through a house. And this is already after a very chaotic scene, which I won't describe just in case you don't want spoilers. It drives through a fucking house. It is so well executed of a sequence. I was genuinely shocked because it actually was like, holy fuck, not just have they just done that and pulled it off, they also killed one of the best characters. And I'm like, no, I cared about her. God damn it. So, yeah, definitely worth watching. Really, really fun. I gave it 3.5. It's fucking great. And then I watched Hush from 2016. This is the the Shush cut, which is actually in black and white, and has minimal sound design, which was perfect because I was like, well, look, I'm home by myself. It's, 9 o'clock at night. No, like, all the neighbors have shut the fuck up because some of them were having like a house party, but it started really heavily raining, so they all just fucked off. So I was like, great, I've got literally perfect silence. I'm going to watch this movie. And it was the perfect decision. I was going to watch The Terminator because I was like, oh, it's the best night to watch it. No one's home. But I'm like, you know what? I want to watch Hush because then I don't have to stress about people coming home. And also, it's a home invasion film about someone being home by themselves, but also in a fucking house in the middle of the woods. So I'm not exactly like that. I'm in suburbia. But it was nice. The black and white was interesting. My only peeve with it was, like, I really liked its look visually. Not the best black and white modern film I've seen in the vein of, like, Parasite or Fury Road or Furiosa. But, like, it's just at one stage, the main character notes down that one of the characters' eyes are green. And I'm like, well, I can't see that because it's in black and white. But the sound design was beautiful. I cannot imagine this movie with a lot more music. Like, it has music in, like, 2 sequences near the end for dramatic reasons. And it works well. I didn't even realize music was, like, had crept in and was playing. Like, I was so used to all the sound design, but I was so in the heat of the emotion of the scene. So I gave it 4 stars. I fucking loved it. I'm like, this is great. You know, like, I don't think I would have loved it as much if it's regular in color cut. I can understand the people's criticisms of it, that you see the killer's face way too soon. Even I was like, the poster has him wearing a mask. I was expecting him to be wearing a mask the whole time. There'd be a bunch of jump scares. He tries to kill this woman who is a deaf mute and all this stuff. But instead, within like the first, it's only an 84-minute long film. It's very short. So like within the first, like by the end of the first act, she's like, hey, I haven't seen your face. My boyfriend's coming soon. Please leave me alone. Like, don't kill me. And he's like, oh, you haven't seen my face. Well, let me just remove my mask. Oh, look, it's John Gallagher Jr. Fucking A. That guy's like, should be in more films. Yeah. So I can understand people's annoyance with that, but from then on it kind of became more playful, like a standard like home invasion, but also a slasher film, and I really like that. Like, if I want good home invasion, I'd go with like, oh fuck, I was gonna say Ready or Not, but that's not the right one. I've already forgotten the goddamn name of the movie. You're Next is a great like home invasion film. Probably The Strangers as well, but I haven't seen that one yet. But this one is like, it starts off as a home invasion film, and then it's just like, no, it's just kind of like a slasher film now. And I'm like, this is great, because now I'm not scared anymore. Because slasher films are not scary to me. They're funny. And then I was like, this film is fucking hilarious. It is really fun. It's got great setups and payoffs. Just really well executed. And the shush cut is really well done. So I'm very happy to have that on the Scream Factory 4K. What else did I watch this month? Then we get to the 26th, where I watched 30 Miles from Nowhere. This was this is the film that my friend Caitlin directed. I did an interview with her like 2 years ago, back in 2023. Yeah, I introduced it to Helene, because Helene hadn't seen it yet, because when I watched it, Helene was in America, and that's when I did my interview with Caitlin. So I was like, hey, I've had the Blu-ray for like a year and a bit now, I should show Helene. So I showed Helene, and she really liked it. She thought it was very funny. It is a horror film, but it's got a horror comedy vibe to it. I'm pretty sure it's very intentionally a horror comedy. A lot more of the comedy I realized as I was watching it this time around. Like, Helene was laughing a lot more stuff than I expected. Not because it was stupid, but just because of how the characters were behaving and interacting with each other. Because they're not good people, which makes it more interesting. I don't love the ending to it. It feels a bit too short-sighted in a way, but at the same time, it's all the information is there, so it's still good. I enjoyed it. I still think the characters are great. I think the way it's shot is really nice. Who was it that is in it? Carrie Preston. So fucking good. So it's great. I love to be able to watch a film that I know the director of, because they're one of my best friends. So it's great. It's good stuff. Anyway, I got the German Blu-ray, and I had to turn off in my own settings the subtitles, because it was playing the subtitles in English and then in German, and I had to turn them off. I'm like I couldn't do it through the Blu-ray settings, which is annoying. I had to go through the player settings because it's a German Blu-ray. Anyway, on the 27th, me and Guy went to the Astor for the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which I gave 3 stars. I'm not a huge fan of the prequels anymore, haven't been for a while. I grew up with them because I was a child when they were being... I was born the year before the first film came out. So, this was the first film that... This is the only of the prequels I've seen in cinemas. I've never... To be fair, I don't think I've ever seen a Star Wars film in cinemas outside of the Disney ones. I can't remember a single time I've... Like, the Astor always screens them, but it's always in marathons, and I can't be fucked going to marathons. I should watch them in the cinema sometime, especially at the Astor. It was good in the Astor in 4K. It looked fine for a film where you could clearly see everyone's faces jumping on top of each other because, you know, Christopher Lee can't do backflips. Yeah, I don't love the film. I think it's fine. Like, it has some good themes. It's got some good character stuff. It's much better than the other two films. Holy shit. And as much as I love the pod racing element and Jar Jar Binks, and, like, I think ironically Jar Jar Binks, but I love the pod racing in the first film, and I love, like, the whole, like, last act of the first film is so fun. Everything with Darth Maul, the music, fucking breathtaking. The music in this one is great. I don't love the second one. I hate Attack of the Clones. But yeah, so I definitely gave this one a higher rating than I did last time, because, like, I watched it, like, 6 years ago and gave it 2.5 stars, so clearly I wasn't digging it. And it's just interesting to rewatch this as an adult and see a movie made for children and realize only one woman talks in the whole movie. Isn't that crazy? Just one fucking woman in the whole movie. There's a bunch of women in this movie, and none of them talk except Padme. Insanity. Anyway, I also rewatched the Jetsons, the movie, which I did a Blu-ray review of, which should be coming out soon, if it hasn't already. Probably won't come out yet, I don't fucking know. I did this with the commentary by Lee Gambin, basically because on the 27th of April, 2024 was the last time I ever saw him, and that was the same day as the Astors Stay Tuned, which he curated, which was a bunch of, like, 12 hours of TV episodes that he hand selected, and I went there and had seen a couple of episodes, and then talked to him about it during it, and then I never saw him again, because he died a month later. So, as my tribute to that, I wanted to rewatch this. I'd watched the film back in March, and I don't love the film. I gave it 2.5 stars, but that's not really the point. I wanted to watch it for the commentary, because knowing it's a TV thing, and a TV, like, adaptation to a movie, I knew Lee's commentary would be exactly what I needed in that regard, like something that would really pay tribute to the Stay Tuned thing and tribute to his knowledge of film and television history, and it really did. Really a solid Kino release in total for special features. There's also an hour-long interview he did with one of the voice actors, so yeah, I definitely would recommend the Kino release. The video ain't great, but the audio is decent, and the special features are really what you're there for, so at least what I'm there for. Anyway, on the 28th, I went out and watched Gift. Now, Gift is a re-edited version of, what is it, There Is No Evil, or it's by Rizuke Hamaguchi. Evil Does Not Exist, which I have not seen. I've only seen Drive My Car. I missed Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy on the Criterion Channel. The original film of this is on the Criterion Channel, so I'm yet to watch that. But they were screening Gift at the Melbourne Recital Centre. Never been to before, so that was really interesting. It was called Gift Aiko Ishibashi x Roisuke Hamaguchi. Basically, the second person there, Roisuke. My god, I cannot pronounce his name. Obviously, the director of Drive My Car and everything. It's just a re-edited version of Evil Does Not Exist, but cutting out all the dialogue. It becomes a silent film, so whenever there's important things that need to be said, there'll be subtitles on screen telling you who the characters are, or telling you what they're saying to each other. But it's mostly this brand new score by the same composer of Drive My Car and Evil Does Not Exist. It was a really fucking hell of an experience. It's like 75 minutes long, but in a theatre, it was just really, really enriching. And it was also great because Guy invited me because his mate Ben couldn't make it because he had bought the ticket and got stuck in Vietnam, flight delays. So I bought the ticket off of him and was like, fuck it, it's a Monday night, sure, whatever. And Nadine and Khan were there. And also Jamie, who had won the Lee Gambin Award at the ACFA Awards earlier in the year. I did a video on that. And so that was great to see them all again, especially with Nadine Khan, who I saw before the screen, and I saw Jamie after. But yeah, that was cool. I was going to get a DVD signed by the composer. I was going to buy the film on DVD, but they sold out just before I got there, like just before I got to the table. I could have brought my copy of Drive My Car, if I had done an incy bit of fucking research to realize she was coming, but it didn't actually say that she was going to come on the actual website. It just said who the composer was and who the director was, but it didn't say any of them were going to be there. And the composer was there because she clicked play on the fucking laptop and played the flute a couple of times. It was weird because it's not really a live score, realistically. Like, clearly it's an orchestra score that she's done, but there's no live orchestra, it's just her. It was very strange for that regard. I was like expecting a live orchestra, but it just wasn't. It was just her playing the film on a laptop with the score already there, and she would just play a couple of extra instruments into a microphone. So, still, she was there, so I got to see her in the flesh, which is nice. But yeah, if I had have known that she also did the score for Drive My Car, I would have brought my Criterion and gotten that signed. But hey, look, you live and you learn. Nevertheless, on the 29th, I did a smart thing thanks to Khan's recommendation of going to the IMAX for it. I saw Sinners. Holy fuck. Okay, so Sinners, yeah, everyone is agreeing that it's the best film of the year so far, and no fucking shit, I gave it 5 stars. It's the only film this year I've given 5 stars. I haven't even given any film 4.5 stars yet. Now, by April of last year, I watched, like, Hundreds of Beavers and fucking Challenges, so I already watched my favorite 2 films of 2024 by April, and this is already my favorite film of this year. The score is exceptional, the cast are fucking brilliant, the effects look great, the film visually looks so fucking good. I'm so happy I watched it in IMAX. There were 2 screenings left. I left work 2 hours early just to go to the movies to see it. Because I finished at 3 o'clock and the movie started at 3, and I'm like, yeah, boss, I'm gonna have to leave 2 hours early because I gotta watch this movie in IMAX because apparently it's fucking great. So she didn't ask any questions. She's nice. I can do the 2 hours like on Friday. It's great. It's wonderful. So yeah, it was really fucking good. The IMAX scenes looked so fucking good. There's one particular musical number in the middle of the film that just engulfs you with just. I had never. It's very rare for me to feel that entranced by a film, like genuinely mouth agape, just drooling of what the hell is going on. My brain emptying out and just letting this movie flow in, and that's how fucking good just that one scene was. And the first act was already really fucking masterfully done, and then the rest of the film was like, fuck yes. Best mid-credit scene of a movie that will hopefully never have a sequel because it's just that fucking good on its own. But genuinely worth watching, even if you can't watch an IMAX, but the IMAX was so fucking beautiful. But yeah, because I usually don't like seeing IMAX films that often, especially when they keep changing aspect ratios. It's annoying. But this film knew when to use those IMAX ones really well, and it added a lot of build and world to the film for certain musical sequences, but they also used it in some sequences during the cotton picking fields, and I was like, oh, it's a nice landscape, but clearly they're going for just the vastness of how much this thing exists, and it's fucking crazy, but good. And Jack O'Connell, oh my god, so many good goddamn actors in this movie. And then tonight, the 30th, I've double featured Heretic, which I borrowed my friend's Blu-ray for it. I was going to watch it last week, decided, the night I watched Hush, decided against it. Kind of happy I watched it now because Mum and Dad came home on the Saturday, and after their 2.5 weeks in overseas, and on the plane, Mum watched Heretic. And she was like, oh, have you watched Heretic yet? I just watched that on the plane. It was really good. I'm like, no, I haven't. I've got the Blu-ray here. I think she expected it was my Blu-ray. I told her the bad news. It ain't. It's Phil and Katie's. And I really liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought Hugh Grant was really fucking good. Sophie Thatcher was great. The other lead actress, who I've never seen before in a film, at least not in a noteworthy role, Chloe East, was also really good. Yeah, she's only been in The Fabelmans, and I don't remember her in that film. But yes, she was very good as well. It's a really solid first act. It kind of starts to dwindle a little bit in power of tension, but what it does in favor of that, I think, is really nice. I think its discussion of like religious theologies and stuff is really interesting. And I think its end-all message, at least of what Hugh Grant's character is going for, is also very interesting. Just a lot of imagery, a lot of religious symbolism, a lot of great payoff, like setups and payoffs. Oh, so many that I forgot about one vital one until it paid off, and I was like, fuck yes. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. And then to finish the month, I watched Paranormal Activity 4, which I gave 2 stars, didn't love it, thought, my god, rough, just really dull. It's really funny how they use the Xbox Kinect with its fucking like sporadic dots to see the demon who's just a kid, which I think is a smart choice to have the demon look like a kid, but then also the demon isn't a kid, so I'm thinking there's multiple demons or something. It's very strange. Why is one of them a kid, but one of them is an invisible demon? What's going on there? Yeah, it's kind of stupid. I cannot believe the same guys directed the third film, because this film is just so lackluster in contrast. Visually, meh. Characters, meh. Anyway, that's it. See you kids next month where more stuff happens. See you then. Adios.